Welcome back to the Melanin Wellness Podcast, where we explore holistic health, wellness, and healing for Black women. I'm your host, Cori, and today I am beyond excited to welcome Leseliey Welch to the table, MPH, MBA, a public health strategist, social entrepreneur, writer, and professional dreamer whose guiding value is love. Leseliey is the founder of Birth Detroit and Birth Center Equity, making birth centers accessible to Black, Indigenous, and women from communities of color. She's also a poet and an Aspen Institute Ascend Fellow. And today, we're diving into why silence isn't strength, why Black women deserve safe spaces to speak and soften it, and how creativity and courage can guide our lives. Leseliey, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Y'all can't see her right now, but she has on the cutest glasses ever. Like, I'm just in love with her glasses. So I hope I can get through this interview without fangirling about her glasses.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So Leseliey, can you tell us about your journey into public health and what sparked your passion for birth equity?
Oh, geez. My journey into public health actually started in my undergraduate career. And I was actually a pre-med student, I will share, until I went on a trip to South Africa. And this was, it ages me, but it was 1998. And I was working with pediatricians at that time, King Edward Hospital in pediatric HIV. And the biggest lesson I learned there was that health is about more than just good doctors. What I saw at that time was I saw babies dying every day because they were not getting the medication that babies in the U.S. were getting at that time. And so I learned that health is also about whose lives we value and how much. And it's also about business and policy, which is what led me to public health.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And I would say what led me to birth, I fell in love with birth as a volunteer birth doula. And I would say there's nothing more beautiful than attending a birth. And at the same time, I'm not a clinician. And so I choose to support birth with the tools I have, which are public health and business.
I love that because, one of the things because I'm a mom, so I've had many children. And one of the most, and I have a couple of acquaintances that are, birth doulas, and they do share how impactful it is to be a part of something like that. And I can imagine that there is a piece to it that because you don't have those restrictions like doctors and nurses per se, that it allows the experience to be more freeing and to flow, differently for you guys in that position. Would that be a correct assessment?
So yes, and I would say that there is a freedom in it, and that freedom should be the culture of birth we all experience. And it is the reason why, I had both my babies with midwives. And midwives approach birth from a normal physiological experience and a holistic one. So a mind, body, spirit experience. And I think that kind of care, research supports it. And we have a better experience when we have it.
I can imagine. I can definitely imagine. I didn't get that experience because I had some complications. However, I definitely did want to take that route, so I can understand why so many women, especially Black women today, are using their voices and choosing that path. So how did your upbringing or personal experiences shape your understanding of love, care, and community?
Oh, wow. I love that question. Love, care, and community. You know what? I'm going to start with my nana, my grandmother, because I so enjoyed listening to your podcast episode about the love of grandmas. And I would say, aside from my parents who, I knew they loved me because they birthed me.
Mm-hmm.
My first experience of love outside of that was the love of my nana, who was fantastic, and cared for me um, in ways I continue to value and appreciate now that she's gone. My experience of community, I would say, has been really shaped by my identity as a Black queer woman in particular.
Mm.
Because when my partner and I, my wife and I have been together over 22 years. And when we had our first baby um, in 2026, we were one of the first young Black couples in our circle to choose to start a family. And when I tell you that my Zoe is a community baby, we hosted her baby shower at our little first house, 1,400 square feet. We, invited our friends and we thought, oh, half of them will come. But when I tell you over 75 people came through that house that day for this baby, it was amazing, right?
Yes.
Um, and so to experience that kind of love in community for a pregnancy, for a baby, for my family has been transformative for me. And I think definitely informs the work I do today and the spirit of care I think we should all have.
I agree with that. To your point about grandmas, the importance of grandmas. Listen, I could go on and on about that, but that is not what this is about.
I
But
know.
that love and that care is so deeply ingrained in us. And oftentimes we don't realize how deep it is until they have transitioned on.
Yeah.
But is a beautiful thing because being a grandmother myself now definitely is I know that the love that I pour into my grandkids, they'll probably have similar conversations when they
I
get
know
older.
they
Like,
will.
grandma was just that girl.
Yeah. And I am surprised to know you have grandbabies. Just
Yes. 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 Yes.
you do
Yes.
not look like a grandma.
Well, thank you. So, Birth Detroit was the first freestanding community birth center in Detroit. Can you share what that milestone meant to you and to the community?
Oh my gosh. Um, my co-founders, we call each other Dream Mates for Birth Detroit, are two midwives, Charlie Snow, Nicole White, and a doula and health equity consultant, Alondra Frard. And when we came together to start Birth Detroit, our dream was that we could create an environment where where our community felt loved during the entire pregnancy and childbirth experience, and that we could revolutionize how we think about care. So
Mm,
we had big goals and big dreams, and we started off really with the attitude that we were not asking permission to save our own lives and to take care of our community. So I will say that as excited as we were and as strong as our courage and attitude were, we got a lot of no's in the beginning.
of course.
And from, a lot of funders or folks who said it's impossible, you can't have a birth center in the city, of folks who question the safety or efficacy of it, despite decades of public health research that support this model. And to finally cut the ribbon, which we did fall of 2024. It was a really emotional and spiritual moment to have for our ribbon cutting. When I tell you, Karina, it was pouring rain that day.
Mhm.
Pouring rain. We did a new build on 3 acres of land, so it was
Wow.
muddy and it was all the things. But hundreds of people came to that ribbon cutting. And I think that in and of itself is a testament to what it meant for the community. That it meant for the community the same love and dream and opportunity that we envisioned it to be. And we've been having babies there ever since.
That is beautiful. And there is that community, once again, showing the power of community and how community can lift you up even in the face of no's and this is not possible. So, in that, how do you define safe spaces for Black women, both in healthcare and in their personal wellness?
Mm, 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 mm. One of the values that we hold at Birth Detroit, or a founding premise, is that the spirit of care matters. And so we intentionally founded our organization on values of safety, love, trust, and justice. And so with that, I define safety as more than just our physical safety.
Mm-hmm.
So when we think about birth and we think about the maternal and infant mortality, crises or challenges in our country, folks are happy if we don't die.
Mm-hmm.
And our position is we deserve more than
Yes.
just to not die.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We deserve so much more for such a sacred experience in our lifetimes, right? So, physical safety, emotional safety, affirmation, right? So, in Birth Center Equity, we talk about cultural reverence, which is not just, I tolerate you, I acknowledge you, I see you. Reverence is I respect you, I value you. And there's an element of dignity to it. And so all people deserve to birth safely, in dignity and in love. And then when I think broader about our health and well-being, I would say that I am continuing to learn myself in that area. I think even as a female founder, there's so much we do for our communities or like for a mission that is sacrificial of ourselves, and finding a way out of that pattern is critical.
Yeah.
Which is why I love your podcast and your work.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I really, really appreciate that. So, you are also a poet and a creative visionary. So tell me, how do your artistic pursuits, specifically your new chapbook, Awaken Love, connect with your public health work?
Yes. I firmly believe and talk openly about love as a value, as a politic, and as a practice. And for me, I really embrace Martin Luther King Jr.'s definition of love as a creative, understanding, and redemptive goodwill for all. Right. And if we really internalize that and practice that in a health space, in a political space, in an educational space, across all of our disciplines, what would our world look like?
Yeah.
Right? So I strive and endeavor to practice that in my leadership within any organization or business that I'm building. And in my poetry, it comes natural. It's just a part of what comes through me and has for a long time. So I've been writing poetry since elementary school. This is the first time, really putting something out into the world in this way.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So, despite being perceived as an extrovert, you enjoy quiet moments. What does softening and slowing down look like for you personally?
Oh my gosh. I love my home, even though I travel 30 to 50% of the time.
Listen, that's a
I
reason to love home.
Oh, I love my home. Even though I call it Wild Kingdom, I have 2 kids. I have a huge puppy. I have a cat. But I love my home. I love sitting I have a little chair by my fireplace
Mm.
that has my books, my bookshelf, my little lamp, my table, my plants, and my coffee that sits right there. And that's where you can find me if I'm at home and I have time to myself. And my big husky puppy right at my feet.
The biggest puppies are always the ones that think they're little lap dogs.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
We have a Cane Corso, and I'm like, girl, if you don't get off of me, like,
They don't know and they don't even care. They just
no,
want love.
yes. So, for Black women looking to claim space, to speak their truths and soften without any guilt, what advice would you give them?
Mm. My advice would be don't ask permission.
Mm,
Don't wait for an ideal time and start now.
I love that. I love that. That is embodying boldness, you know,
Mm.
and we as Black women have to embody boldness, especially in these days and times with all the craziness. We can't ask for permission. We simply have to take what is inherently ours, what belongs to us.
Absolutely.
Get in your
And then
position.
we have to be leaders in our own care. We
Yes.
have so many skills and talents and gifts, and we can create
Mm,
our own care
mm,
spaces, our own businesses,
mm.
our own infrastructures to meet our needs.
And you are proof of that. You are proof of that. So, how
Thank
can communities, someone who's listening and maybe looking for ways in their own communities to do something like this, how can communities better support Black women's wellness, creativity, leadership, especially in spaces that are historically designed to silence them?
I would say, if I'm talking to an individual who's listening and thinking about this right now, is to think about what your offering is. Like, what is your gift or offering to your community?
Mm,
And don't be afraid to bring that forward because we all have a unique part to play, is what I say. I've learned over time. And if we all step into what it is we uniquely have to offer without fear,
mm,
and we have what we need as we quilt it together, right?
yeah,
Um, and I would say for anybody, interested in the birth space and changing the experience of birth in their community, certainly Birth Center Equity is a resource. And there's so many amazing birth justice organizations across the country that are resources too.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I have one more question for you. So, your new
Mhm.
chapbook, we touched on it a few minutes ago, Awaken Love. It debuts this Valentine's Day, everybody. What is the core message that you hope readers take from it?
Mm. The core message is that we are all love, learning to remember. I frame Awaken Love as a message to the love that's inside every single heart. And I mean every single heart somewhere deep, deep down. And I hope that it will inspire connectivity and hope and faith and courage at this time when we all desperately need it.
Agreed. Agreed. We do. Leslie, thank you so much for sharing your heart, your insight, your lived wisdom with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been really great.
Your work is a powerful reminder that creating space for our voices, our bodies, and our rest is not a luxury, but it is essential. The way that you center love, care, and community in your work is deeply felt by me, and I know that it will resonate with so many listening. To everyone tuning in, if this conversation spoke to you, I encourage you to connect with Leslie and explore her chapbook and her work through Birth Detroit, and Birth Center Equity. As you know, all of the resources and links will be available for you in the show notes of this episode. Thank you for being here with me today. And until next time, family, take care of yourself, honor your journey, and remember that rest, softness, and care are not weaknesses. They're wisdom. Bye.